Welcome to another episode of Strategy. And hopefully, you had a good spring break and you're all well rested and ready to learn some more. And all the best for your ETS exam as well. So, let's go into today's chapter, which is chapter number 6. And this chapter is about, as you can see, strengthening a competitive company's competitive position. So, company is already competitive, and you want to make it even more competitive, stronger. So we all know why a company wants to be competitive. The reason it wants to be competitive is to make more money, right? The company makes more money. It can put more money in research and development, come up with new products. It can pay employees better money. The shareholders are happy. So it's all about making more money. So how do you do that? So that is strategic moves, timing, and scope of operation. So these are the three things. So let's go into, actually, you know what I'm going to do is uh, I'll do this. Let me insert some blank slides over here. Okay, so let's do that. So we got some blank slides over here. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about strategic moves. And some of you who have played sports or watched sports or know anything about sports or heard of the word sports, strategic moves, there are basically two types of moves. One is offensive and the other is defensive. Okay. And see, sometimes I misspell words. All I say is I come up with an alternative spelling for the word. Even Oxford Dictionary can't keep up with that. So, see, and again, this is also one way. Let's say you make a mistake, you call it out and call it out in a humorous way. So people say, "Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's not a big deal." Okay. So there are two types of moves, basically offensive and defensive moves. And we want to differentiate when which move is appropriate. So when do we do these moves? First of all, we need to look at the market. So what do I mean by market? So market is if the market is mature, meaning the product is well established. Think about, let's say, soda. Okay, how's the market for soda? Well, it's pretty established. I mean, mature market is the product has become a commodity, meaning anybody and everybody who can afford to buy, they can buy it. So for a mature product, the only way you can actually make money is by, I mean, even in soda, you really do, you can't really do too much innovation. People already, I mean, there's very little innovation that goes on. The page went away. Let's go back to that. Okay, so there's very little innovation that goes on. So the only way companies in the mature market make money is by lowering the price. So let's say, since we're talking about soda, well, let's say, you talk about Coke and Pepsi, right? So there are some right here. There are some diehard Coke fans, diehard Pepsi fans. So these people, not, it doesn't matter what's going on. They, if somebody wants Coke, they're going to drink Coke. Somebody wants Pepsi, they're going to drink Pepsi. But most people sort of, fall over here, somewhere in the middle, which means that whatever is on sale, they're going to buy that. Okay. Or if it's not on sale, they can wait and they'll buy it when it is on sale. Usually people stock up on soda. So commodity. So in a mature market, the best way to gain market share is to lower the price, basically, for the most part. Okay. And typically a new company, a new soda company comes up, they're going to be on the offensive, meaning they are going to lower the price to gain the market share. Because you have to keep in mind that since in a mature market, the market share is not increasing. The market share is what it is. the only way you can grab market share is by taking it from your competitors. So if you want to get market share from your competitors, you have to be offensive. So typically, offensive moves are used by newcomers or even established players, but for the most part, it is used by newcomers because they want to, stake a claim in the market and have have a position in the market. So what about the defensive move? The defensive move is most of the times in the company that are in commodity product, they typically do not charge a heavy premium because they cannot. Okay? So the way they protect their market is by having long-term contracts. So like Burger King has a long-term contract with Coke. So you go to Burger King, you get Coke products. Go to Taco Bell, you get Pepsi products. Okay, so that's the way. That's their defense, is to have long-term contracts so your competitor cannot steal market share from you. And in the book, there are lots of other techniques, but I just wanted to give you an overview as to what it is. Now let's look at the other type of market, which is in the market that there is plenty of growth. Then in a market where there's plenty of growth, companies don't have to fight for market share because the market is growing. And typically that's where the profit margins are higher. Mature market is commodities, profit margins are lower. And also if you want, supermarkets are great examples of commodities, usually milk, egg, cheese. Nobody really cares about the brand name. People just see what's on sale, they buy it. If I were to ask you what's the brand of sugar you buy or salt you buy, many of you probably have heard of the name Domino's, but you see Great Value or you see Kroger's sugar that is cheaper than Domino's. You don't really care. You're going to go buy the cheaper one. So that's what I mean. A mature market, there is very little differentiation between a name brand and something that is, just generic. Okay? So the profit margins are lower, but at the same time, the commodities are a necessity. So the market is very stable. So you're going to make money, but not as much. Versus in a growth area, the market is growing and you're going to make a lot of money. Usually high-tech items come into this. Smart TVs, people keep innovating, and that's why people want to buy the newest one, 4K with HDR. Actually recently bought one and it was really awesome. You actually see really good clarity in picture. So it was good. Anyway, so that's what the growth market is. And the way you don't have to be offensive or defensive in the traditional sense, but the way you can be offensive is by coming up with the technologies faster than your rivals. Okay? And the way you can be defensive in that is you have patents. So you have patents on the products and the processes, the components. That's how you can protect your market. Okay. So let's move on to the next item, which is timing. And in terms of timing, you can have can be the first mover, second or fast follower, or you can be the late mover. Okay, so the first mover is the company is the first one to come out with the product. Typically, when you are the first, you actually have high profit margin, but at the same time, the risk is higher because the product is not well-known product. So people don't know anything about your product. And if you watch the Simon Sinek video, there are very few people that want to buy the latest and the greatest until it is a proven technology. And plus, first movers, I mean, the products that are coming out first, they are typically expensive. And you could put, let's say, thinking about companies, you could put Apple over here in the first mover category. But Apple's profit margins are higher. Second or fast follower, you could put Microsoft here. We could even put Google there. You could put even Samsung there. So these are the companies that don't come up with a new one, although some could argue that Samsung came up with lots of innovative products before Apple did. That's true. So let's just stick with Microsoft here. Microsoft typically doesn't come out with anything new. They're just incremental changes in things. but that model is serving very well for them because they've been consistently making money. So, and the late mover is the companies are here when thing has become a commodity, like PCs and laptops. They have become a commodity. I mean, nobody really cares because name brand doesn't really mean much in that. You could go buy Asus or Lenovo a lot cheaper than HP. Actually, pretty much everybody is very competitive. It's a very low price market. So this is late mover is the commodity market. Okay. So the timing, first mover, you want to be first. You can generate brand loyalty. You can make a lot of money that way. Like Apple is sort of like brand loyalty. Like people, feel sorry, people feel pride in having Apple products. They have the brand loyalty, and there are some people that are Android fans, and but they're really not. There are a few people that are loyal to Samsung, but most of the people are not really that loyal when it comes to Android market. Anyway, so first mover, you actually make a lot more money, but at the same time, the risks are higher because the product is not known. Fast follower, the product is well known. You could actually, the profit margins aren't that high, but since the product is well known, you can make money. Late mover, it has become a commodity, and most of the big players have actually left that arena, and all you're left with is there is a steady stream of profit, but it's not really that high. And then the next part of this chapter is about scope. What do we mean by scope? Scope means scope of operations. Okay. So speaking of computers, you got components like the hard drive and the screen, the processors. Okay. Then you have people that assemble the computer. You got HP, Lenovo, Asus. And then there you have the one that sell it, Best Buy, Walmart. Okay. Now, so this is the scope of operation. These people, components, they're making raw components. These people are the system integrators or they're assemblers. They're assembling, putting their parts together to make a computer. And these people are selling. Okay. So let's say HP buys a company that makes hard disks, which is, let's say, Western Digital. They buy that. That is called vertical integration. And since it is going back in the value chain, meaning going to the component makers, it is called backward integration. Versus if HP were to buy, let's say, Best Buy, it is forward integration. Still, this is vertical integration because you're going up and down the value chain. You buy your sellers, the retailers, forward integration from the position you are in. Let's say Western Digital buys HP, that would be forward integration because you are moving forward. Okay. Best Buy buying HP would be backward integration. So this right here is vertical integration, and this is horizontal integration. So meaning if HP were to buy Lenovo, that would be horizontal integration. So that's what it is. And there are other ways you can increase the scope of your operations, and that could be by strategic partnerships, by joint ventures, by alliances, by mergers and acquisitions. Actually, there is a lot of data on mergers and acquisitions, and 60 to 70% or even higher of these fail. Typically, the reason for the high failure rate is because if let's say HP buys Lenovo, so people at HP and people at Lenovo, they both kind of know how to make computers, so there's going to be clash of cultures, and Lenovo people are going to say, oh, we don't like the way you guys do it, and HP people are going to be the same thing. So it's the marriage of equal actually most of the times doesn't work. But if HP were to buy, like here, go to Western Digital, the hard disk manufacturer, that actually has a better chance of success, or over here, because HP buying Best Buy, let's say. because HP is not going to be in the business of telling Best Buy what to do or in the business of telling Western Digital what to do. So that's why the chances of that acquisition working or that merger working are higher. And also, typically what happens is when two companies, they have the merger talk. Usually Mondays are busy with mergers if you watch CNBC, because over the weekend people have, hashed out the deals, and merger Mondays or Tuesdays are fairly common. And what happens in typical situation is, let's say company A is trying to buy company B. Okay? Let me just make it better over here. Company A is trying to buy company B. Okay. Now A is at a certain stock price, so A is going to buy B, let's say. Okay. So if A and B, the merger is good, this is one scenario. If the merger is good, both of the prices for both the stock prices of both the companies are going to go up. But in majority of the cases, this goes down and this goes up. Stock price I'm talking about. The reason the shares of A go down is because A has to pay a premium to buy B. If the shares of B are trading at $40 a share, nobody's going to let those shares go for 40. A has to pay a premium. Sometimes it has to pay $10 more, $5 more, whatever it is. And depending upon how valuable this asset is or this company is, they will have to overpay. Usually in pharmaceutical industry, the company that is going to be bought, their price shoots up, like boom, 1,000% increase. Why? Because this company B has probably come up with a new drug or something that is going to revolutionize the healthcare industry, something like that. So that's why prices go up. So this is a very typical scenario, like, A going down and B going up. If this happens, that means that merger is doomed for failure. It's like, a drug addict marrying an alcoholic. Terrible combination, okay? I know my examples are terrible, but see, the weird the examples are, the more you're going to remember it. So that's why I give you a weird example. So I'll give you an example of this scenario over here, like both shares going down. This was actually Circuit City buying Blockbuster. Side UDB for Best Buy. So I don't know how many of you remember Circuit City. That is like Best Buy used to be. They were buying Blockbuster. Blockbuster, that's like bankrupt video store chain. Because the investors said, well, that's we don't think that it's going to make it, and both those things were bad. So both the shares went down. Anyway, so let's talk about, since this is the typical scenario, like A price going down and B going up. And this is also one of the reasons why the mergers fail, is because A has to pay significant premium for B. And the market has already valued B at a certain level where they think that that's what it is going to be, versus A is overpaying for that. So the growth, A plus B growth, combined growth, has to be a lot higher. Okay? And in many, many cases, the executives from B are not happy, so the top talent usually leaves the company. Okay? I'll give you a great example of this is Oracle, when Oracle was buying PeopleSoft. Okay, let's see if I have another page. Oh, okay, no, I don't have another page, but that's okay. So Oracle was buying PeopleSoft. Okay, so there's Oracle, there's SAP, there's PeopleSoft, there was JD Edwards, and then there were a bunch of other players in the ERP arena. So when Oracle wanted to buy PeopleSoft, PeopleSoft executives said no way. The team said no way, and PeopleSoft, I mean, the acquisition got extremely intense. PeopleSoft even said to its customer, if Oracle buys us, we're going to refund you your money. Okay, Oracle still wanted to buy PeopleSoft. Then PeopleSoft execs said, we're going to all resign if Oracle buys us. Oracle said, we're still going to buy you. So the question is, why was Oracle so adamant about buying PeopleSoft? Because PeopleSoft was literally taking a poison pill, meaning you buy us, we're going to kill ourselves, basically. Okay. One of the reasons sometimes companies buy another company is to reduce competition. But guess what? When this fight was going on, who was getting benefit? SAP, because people were thinking, hey, I don't know what's going on. Let's just go with SAP. And in order to make the merger even worse, PeopleSoft bought JD Edwards. Now PeopleSoft has become bigger. Oracle said we're still going to buy you. Okay? But anyway, so sometimes the mergers and acquisitions can get ugly, and if it gets ugly, it's actually a bad deal. So if you want, the master or the best guy of mergers and acquisitions, this guy is really awesome in that, and that is Warren Buffett. He buys companies on the cheap, and he leaves the management alone. Okay, that actually segues into my ninja skill for this week. So listen up. It's very, very important skill. And that is, see, most of us want, say, oh, I don't know this, I need to learn this. So instead of spreading yourself thin, focus on your strength. Whatever you're good at, do more of that. And find somebody who's an expert at something and learn from them. So, pick this person's brain and ask them questions. So the ninja skill is, people say, oh, you have to be well-versed, well-rounded and all that. That is good. You need to be well-rounded, but at the same time, you should master a few things. Don't master more than 5 things. 3 to 4 things is good. And that should be your strength. And anything else you don't know, you should go to somebody else to get that, okay? So if you want to be a great leader, you look at leaders, you're going to, I don't know how many of you have done the Myers-Briggs profile, whatever, ENTJ, ENTF, INFP, whatever, all these things, categories are there. And I would highly encourage you to do that, because there are websites, if you type in Myers-Briggs personalities, you'll see that will help you understand who you are. And at the same time, you need to understand the people that you're going to be leading, okay? And also, let me end this on, I'm getting good feedback from you that you're learning a lot from these videos. And I am planning on making a special video for all of you. And so if there are any topics you want me to cover, that will be just a special video just for you guys. So send me a message on Blackboard and let me know if you want to see something interesting that you want me to talk about, right? So thank you for watching this video, and let's just do a quick recap. Basically, this chapter is about 3 things. Let's go over to the first one. So strengthening a company's competitive position. Company is already competitive. You want to make it stronger. Strategic moves, timing, and scope of operations. Strategic moves are dependent upon, there are 2 types, offensive and defensive, and they depend upon whether the market is mature or growing. In a growing market, you don't need to worry too much about offensive moves or defensive moves, because the pie is getting bigger and bigger. So you're going to have more and more customers coming in, so you don't have to worry too much. But you have to worry a lot when it's a mature market, because the number of customers is fixed. Most of the time, the only way to grab market share is to throw a sale, lower your price. And then the next one was the timing. Do you want to be the first mover, fast follower, late mover? It doesn't matter what you want to be. What matters is, can you make money doing that? Fast movers, there are lots of fast movers that have failed miserably because nobody really liked their product, or they didn't know how to market them. TiVo is a great example, great product, bad marketing. Fast followers, look at Microsoft. It has been doing really, really good. It's a steady company. Another a good example of first mover is Apple. Apple is doing pretty good. Then you have late movers, which is when things become commodities. Kind of Lenovo is like that. Asus, all these companies, PCs have become a commodity. And then the last part is the scope. And the scope of that is the scope of operations. If you buy somebody that makes components for you, you're going backward integration. Buy somebody who's selling your products, you're doing forward integration, which is called vertical integration. If you buy your competitor, it's horizontal acquisition. Okay. And there are other ways of increasing your scope by strategic partnership, joint venture, alliance, mergers and acquisitions. And I've told you in depth why mergers and acquisitions most of the times fail, because the company A is overpaying for company B in most of the situations. Okay. And the ninja skill is focus on your strength. It's good to be well-rounded, but before you become well-rounded, or even when you, as you're becoming well-rounded, become really, really good at something, and that, make sure that defines you. If you look at lots of leaders, there are leaders, some of them are shy, some of them are very outgoing. The reason that they are successful is they didn't try to imitate anyone. Try to know what your strengths are. You already done your SWOT analysis, and focus on that. And you should always surround yourself with people that can help you learn and grow. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in future videos. All the best for your ETS exam. Right. Thank you.